is the 13th day of August. Good evening and welcome to Joy News at 8 on Multi TV. My name is Clarence Kwesi Apia.
And I am Kemini Nyamani Amano.
Coming up in our headlines this evening, Ghana set for a new constitution next year as Constitution Review Commission wraps up at work.
The National Security relaxes its functions around the Souk Castle amidst curiosity of teeming Ghanaians to catch a glimpse of Mill's grave.
Tick tock. Parliament's Subsidiary Legislation Committee rejects CI on creation of new constituencies, but Rashid Helpool rises to the EC's defense ahead of the debate on it tomorrow.
Also ahead, $1 million question pops up on the floor of Parliament concerning the eligibility of cabinet appointees, obviously on the heels of the president's death.
Coming up in the world of business this evening, experts urge Bank of Ghana to implement anti-dollarization law.
On the lighter side of the news this evening, Wuta considers moves to sue Flavor and Bania on plagiarism.
And in sports, Ghana poised to host 2013 African Youth Championship final round of qualifiers, while Black Stars coach names 18-man squad ahead of Wednesday's international friendly against China.
And in continental news, Nigeria's army reportedly kills 20 Boko Haram members. Details of these and more coming up in a bit.
In our first story this evening, the People's National Convention, PNC, is set to launch its manifesto before next Friday. Flag bearer of the party, Hassan Ayariga, says the new PNC manifesto will focus on job creation for the youth and revamping the country's economy. The party, he added, is seeking to field parliamentary candidates in all constituencies in the country, majority of whom will be women.
Hassan Ayariga, in an interview with Joy News, first spoke about the decision of the party to field a female running mate for the 2012 presidential and parliamentary elections.
I believe that the tradition of picking ladies to partner presidential candidates is one thing that will close the gender balance and also will motivate women to be active in political campaigns and discourse. As you know, women are always left out, and we think that there is more in a woman than just being a housewife or being a madam of the house. So we believe that they being in politics will help a lot in our political history and campaign.
He also gave us an insight on the format of the PNC's campaign for the upcoming elections.
We will start with the first 5 regions towards the north. We'll start with Ashanti region, BA, Upper East, Upper West, and then the northern region. We will storm these regions after the Ramadan fast period, and we will move into these regions to campaign intensively.
The party's manifesto, he says, would be launched by Friday next week.
Before you came, the office was full. We had the manifesto team here with myself, and we're working on it. We'll probably finish it by end of this week, and then we'll see maybe launching it from next week on.
Majority of the party's parliamentary candidates, according to Mr. Yariga, are likely to be women to help secure victory for the PNC in the December polls.
Now, Parliament today approved a 95 million Ghana cedis credit agreement between Sewage System Ghana Limited and Standard Chartered Bank Limited, with the government of Ghana as guarantor for the construction and management of Kolebu Medical Waste Disposal Plant, Mudo Fecal Waste Treatment Plant, and the Accra Treatment Plant.
The approval of the 95 million credit agreement did not come without any scrutiny from some members of Parliament. The terms of the credit includes 50% of the credit in Ghana cedis and the other 50% in US dollars, interest rate of 24% in cedis and $1 per month, LIBOR plus 8%, repayment of 48 months with a grace period of 12 months. Hakmon Owusu-Agyemang was, however, not comfortable with the LIBOR plus 8% and asked for renegotiation.
Taking a loan, Madam Speaker, is LIBOR plus 8%. LIBOR plus 8%. I've not seen anything like this at all in this House. LIBOR plus 8. I know the LIBOR is manipulated, hence the problem of Barclays Bank International and other banks. But, Madam Speaker, if the government is giving a sovereign guarantee and the interest rate is LIBOR plus 80%, we have to take a good look at it.
The chairman, James Aveji Kluche, and ranking member of the Finance Committee, Dr. Akutose, disagreed with Hakman Usuajiman's argument.
When we come to the issue about LIBOR plus 8%, this is a commercial credit. It is not a concessionary, it's a commercial credit. And this is a bank that has been brought to us from a local bank. So if he personally, as an individual, is not satisfied, the committee was satisfied, and that is why we did this recommendation to the House.
When I seconded the motion, I raised it by 24%. The Deputy Minister was actually asked to go, the Deputy Minister, Honorable Setekwe, it should have come on page 9 of the committee's report, but it didn't appear to. That those rates are a bit high, and it should go back to Standard Chartered when it's approved to see if we can negotiate it downstairs. But it's not fully captured here under the loan repayment, and maybe that is why Honorable Hagman did not. But it was raised.
Minority Leader Oseche Mensah Bonsu also expressed concern as to the breakdown of the project.
What we have before us is just the construction and management. Now, where are we? Does it include the design? Because that will come with another cost. Well, those are matters for maybe the finance minister, represented here by his deputy,
or the chairman of the committee,
or the chairman, if they have some assurances, to give us.
Well,
there are matters that have been, and then they are also talking about other medical waste treatment sites in Greater Accra. The report limits us to 3 places.
The chairman of the Finance Committee, James Aveji Kluche, had no option but to break down the project.
On page 8, paragraph 5.8, you see the committee's work on how the project can finance itself. So the committee was actually satisfied in that. We satisfy ourselves that the project is self-financing, and that information was given to us at the committee level.
After several arguments over the issue, it was finally approved with the condition that the final report of the Finance Committee will include an amendment of the renegotiation by the minister on the LIBOR plus 8%. The Kolebu sewage system was constructed in the late 1950s with a population of about 1,900, including residents, patients on admission, and staff of the hospital. The current population is now over 8,000, including daily admission of above 250 and transient traffic of over 1,200.
With the presidency changing hands to President John Mahama following the demise of former President Mills, the question still lingers as to whether presidential appointees nominated by Mills still have the authority to move for a motion before Parliament.
Now, during a sitting today in the House, the question was raised by Minority Leader Oseche Mensah Bonsu when the Deputy Finance Minister Fifi Kwete rose to move for the resolution and the adoption of a credit agreement.
It was submitted to this House under the hand of His Excellency John Evans Atta Mills. Would you have any message or authorization from His Excellency John Dramani Mahama that he approves of saying? Because this one was done in the name of His Excellency John Evans Atta Mills, executive approval.
The presidency is made up of the president and the vice president as well. And again, an executive approval of anything from the presidency is not necessarily in the personal name of the person. It's his office.
I thought the deputy majority leader was going to say that we should be assured that the present president is aware and is not against the position. Simplicity, and we'll continue. But this laborious explanation about person and office, I don't know.
It was signed by his associates, either the cabinet secretary or his secretary. So to be asking that the president was doing this in his personal capacity and be asking whether the current president is aware when the thing has not been referred to him, Madam Speaker, we need to correct the record.
you cannot put that question and expect somebody to answer only for you tomorrow to go and say, why did you meet the current president to say he agrees or not?
Away from the floor of Parliament, the once quiet security zone leading to the Christiansburg Castle is now a free zone for people from all walks of life. It may not last for long, but as usual, Ghanaians are making the most of it while it lasts. They are marching on in their numbers to take a piece of history back home with them.
From afar, it looks like a mad rush for some treasure at the Osu Castle. But of course, the Asumdwe Park was their final destination. Friends and family walk in and out with every passing minute. Some even come with their own wreaths to lay. It is even worse still given the announcement that today is the last day for public viewing of the place. On a Monday morning, when one is expected to be at work, we found out why the bother to be at the presidential graveyard. So how did they manage to escape from work to come here?
I was at the workplace, but I had a chance to go out, so I snappy just push into it just to pass here and have a look. He saw me going out, right? But it's like the route to where I'm going is the same place that they buried my late president. So
I just came to pay my respects to the president. Yes, I took permission from my manager. He was only too happy to let me come. We just work here in the ministries, so from here to there, it's not such a huge distance.
I'm here to see Atamils, to see how President John Atamils, how he was buried, and all those things. Because he's Ghana's president. And he also did a lot of things for Ghana, so I wanted to come and see him here.
Yeah, on vacation. I'm also on leave. As I say, it was like a coincidence because I knew I will be coming on leave today, and the announcement also came. So I decided to use the opportunity to come and show them where they buried the ex-president.
For these young ladies, though, the place of burial for a past president is a likely BEC question, which they must get right.
I'm here to see our president and know where he was buried, yes, because it may come to our BEC when we are eating.
He is our president, and it is my right to see where he was buried.
They were also there to share their thoughts with the new president, John Dramani Mahama.
I want to tell him that he should forget all the sudden in which it has happened to him, and she should concentrate on the work in which our late president was doing. She should continue doing it, and he should humble himself as our late president was doing.
I want to tell our president to take out and follow the footsteps of our late president.
Joy News has learnt that once the park is officially closed to the public, any visit may have to be facilitated with an application letter through the castle, and of course, military personnel will be there to keep watch over it. Joy News, Gifty Ando up here.
Well, it's good to know that sympathy has a way of drawing people to a particular destination.
And it clearly shows that the late president was indeed a great
absolutely. But then I hope that going forward we'll learn to patronize the tourism we have in here, you know, that the destinations we have in here. It shouldn't be just sympathy drawing us to the Asumdwe Park. We are not making any money from it, but then it still is some sort of tourism.
At least when they go there, is a source of inspiration to others, you know.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You're watching the news at 8 on Joy News on Multi TV. We're going for our first break here. Stay with us.
This is still Joy News at 8. Moving on, Deputy Attorney General Batten Ojo says Ghana is likely to get a new constitution by 2013. He explains that considering the cumbersome process of educating Ghanaians on the new amendment and referenda of a number of amendments, it is not possible to have a new constitution this year. He was at the final discussion of Constitutional Review Commission report in Accra.
The Constitutional Review Commission has winded its mandate of collating views to amend the 1992 Constitution. It collated about 83,161 views from the public on many constitutional provisions. It presented a voluminous 960-page report to government on 20 December 2011. But many have expressed some disagreements on sections of the report. Chairman of the Constitutional Review Commission, Professor Albert Fiajo, says the Commission welcomes any criticism but kicked against any sweeping statements that seek to rubbish the committee's work.
Some have tried to respond to the CRC's recommendations based on sheer emotion, populism, and statistics. I want to make it very clear that the CRC is not opposed to criticism of its reports and recommendations. However, criticisms which are based on emotions and sweeping communiques, not grounded in the interstices of the CRC's reasoning, are certainly not helpful to the debate or the process that we are engaged in. If I may so suggest, it may be more helpful to this national discourse if those who disagree from the CRC do provide alternative viewpoints accompanied with cogent reasons so that the people can make a meaningful decision one way or the other.
He disclosed that the late president had accepted 90% of the amendments already. But as the commission winds, a greater task lies ahead.
If the government is serious about it, within next year, they could come out with the constitutional amendment bills. Although the process looks long, it doesn't have to take too much time. The draft bills are already ready. They can be reviewed in 1 week or 2 weeks by Attorney General's Department. It can be approved by Parliament in a month. It can go it can be approved by Cabinet in a month. It can go to Parliament in the next month or early next year. The referendum can be held in September, and the bills can be passed in November. So there's an end to it. It just depends on how the calendar of Parliament is and the drive that government puts behind it.
Deputy Attorney General Bati Gojo said Ghana is likely to get a constitution by next year.
If certain entrenched provisions in the constitution will have to be amended by the recommendations of the Review Commission, because we have quite a large segment of our population being illiterate, you need to do a lot of education. A lot of education. You see, it's not a simple thing like we did in 1992. Do you like the Constitution or do you not like it? Yes or no? That's straightforward. But when you are amending an entrenched provision which is rather intricate in nature, the illiterate person who is going to the referendum must be well educated to appreciate the issues at stake and to decide which way to vote. And it calls for experts in those areas to be able to handle that kind of situation. I can anticipate that possibly by the end of 2013, we should have gone through with the implementation process.
The world, they say, is unfair, and if you had not let go of something as insignificant as your seat in public gathering, you may wonder how the geese at the Asumdue Park feel about their new tenant and his many lovers. Gifty and Apia attempts to peep into the mind of the geese in the park.
It used to be their cozy little world of paradise. They slept and woke up when they wanted. They relaxed in their cue pen and swam when the weather got too hot to stay indoors. But for the past few days, they've had such an intrusion. What's more, they've lost the title to the land they've been occupying for the past 4 months, and they respond accordingly. Their abode now houses the mortal remains of a very important personality, so the name has changed. It is no more the Geese Park, but now the Asumdue Park. What's more, they have had to put up with members of the public taking photos of them and sharing in their privacy. But they were very smart. They warmed up to their new occupants rather quickly and easily because earlier their pool was empty. But in about 15 minutes, they all jumped into the pool to do their own thing, call it posing for the camera or just feeling at home. Some are not much bothered with the presence of people. They just decided to get busy in their own way, lazy about or take it easy in their pen. If only they could speak, I would have loved to find out what was going through their minds and whether they know what is happening around them or understood their own surroundings. We learned a little about their characteristics.
They group themselves in the shades under the tree, and when they are ready to swim, they come in and swim freely and go out. They roam all over the gardens here without any hindrance. But the people are now many, so certain times they look a little bit scared. So you see them grouped at one place. But all the same, they are not disturbed too much because they feel they are very comfortably kept. In fact, they are water animals. They enjoy both rain and this water. The foresight of the coordinator, because he felt that this thing should be kept. That's why he constructed here. I think he studied them and he knew about them for some time. I think he saw them somewhere around Europe, and then he made that this thing should be constructed. And when it was contracted, he brought them.
Their caretaker is still building on communication skills with them. But for now, it is obvious that food is their only distraction, and their leadership style is simple. The moment one moves, all the others follow in a beautiful procession. No wonder they receive so much attention at the park. For Joy News, Gifty Ando Apia at Sumdre Park.
Business Live is next. After what seems like a shortage of the dollar on the money market in the country, both commercial banks and forex bureaus alike have had to resort to the black market for adequate supply of the dollar, a development which has raised lots of concerns. But financial analyst Kesley Hayford, in an interview with Business Live, indicates the central bank should resort to the free market forces.
According to some banks, the shortfall is as a result of a directive from the central bank limiting the importation of dollar cash into the economy only to the Bank of Ghana. This move by the central bank is part of measures to reverse the depreciation of the cedi against the dollar due to excessive dollarization of the economy. Unfortunately, it has also led to shortfall of the dollar, resulting in black market activities which could nullify the Bank of Ghana moves. However, Sydney Kesley Hayford thinks the Bank of Ghana should allow free market forces to work while implementing the laws on dollarization of the economy.
This whole situation has been exaggerated because of the attempt to interfere in the free market forces and to be able to shore up the cedi. And this is what has caused most of the problems. So the Bank of Ghana should look very, very seriously at what they're doing. And also, maybe what they should also consider is strictly applying the law, which allows them to at least stop the dollarization of the economy more easily than rather trying to interfere in buying and propping up the currency at this particular time.
Hayford recommended ways forward to curb the situation.
So for as long as the regulation is good, then banks will be able to adjust their products and their services in order to be able to fit within the whole regulatory authority's directive. So you can't just leave them alone to do anything they want. They have to operate within the regulations and the laws that you have put in place for them to operate within. Well, the commercial banks are for-profit organizations. Their only reason of existence is to make profit and make sure their shareholders have a return on their equity. So as far as all that is concerned, the only thing they have to do is to continue to make their profits as best as they can.
So a smart businessman is one who identifies business opportunities in the fringes of ideas and circumstances. At the Asumdri Park, photographers are having such a good business day.
They stand in wait at strategic positions with their weapons, ready to flash out the light of their cameras. For those who want to make instant money, given that customers here are mostly unknown, this technology has made their work very easy. With these gadgets, pictures can be printed instantly at 2 cedis per copy. Everyone who was at the park wanted to capture the moment as vividly as possible. The photographers told the news team they're making some good shortcut money compared to what they would have made in a whole day at occasions like weddings and graduations.
Today, business is normal. It's going very faster than when you are going to program like wedding, birthday or graduation. Today works is very faster than previous day.
Roughly 100 Ghana cedis. Normal day at times 40. But today, because of the people are coming, I think it's good.
I hear in the news say today is the last day for the visiting for a peaceful park. But now I came here 9 o'clock, but the business is going on. I print almost 30 people, almost 600,000. Yeah, from 9 to now.
At the end of the day, they look forward to some 200 cedis or more, whereas on a normal day, they would be making or expecting between 40 and 60 Ghana cedis. They are, however, worried that the more people get to know about the instant printing machine through huge platforms like Joy News, more photographers would emerge. That has an adverse effect on their business, but they are resolved to remain competitive. Gifty Ando Apia, Joy News.
And in the segment, a smart investment.
Rashida, and I bring you the latest in the world of sports. And we begin with Ghana, who will host the first leg match in the final round of the qualifying for the 2013 Africa Youth Championship against Morocco next month. The Black Satellites beat the Hippos of Uganda 3-0 in Tamale to complete a 4-3 aggregate victory. Set up a 2-leg final round decider against Morocco, who advanced past the Gambia after the West African nation, trailing 4-0 from the first leg, withdrew from the qualifiers. Moses Oje puts Ghana in front to finish the first 45 minutes 1-0 up after Jacob Apeu missed from the spot. Ebenezer Assefa scored the second goal to put the Black Satellites in the driving seat. Emmanuel Jemfi's goal in the final 20 minutes sealed the day for the Black Satellites. Maxwell Kunedu's side, who have been given a 1-week break, will play the Moroccan under-20 team on September 23 for one of the 7 qualifying slots. The venue for the home game is yet to be confirmed. The Black Satellites will travel for the return clash on the weekend of 5th, 6th or 7th October 2012. 7 teams will make it from the qualifiers and join hosts Algeria in the finals next year. Maxwell Kunedu is interim head coach of the Black Satellites.
Qualification was more important, and that is what we want. We have qualified and we are very happy for that.
What's the motivation behind your success?
Hard work. Hard work. Now we're going to wait and strategize for Morocco or Gambia. That is our next opponent. So we go and do our homework very well and wait for them. With the level of support they gave us, they came in their numbers and came to support us. And that is what we want, and we've had it from them. So we have to thank them very, very much.
Away from the Black Satellites, we move to the Black Stars, where coach Kwesi Appiah has named an 18-month squad for Wednesday's international friendly match against China. The Black Stars take on Jose Antonio Camacho's side in Xi'an, Shaanxi province, with 4 debut call-ups in contention for a starting role. There are first-time senior call-ups for Strømsgodset defender Abdul Razak Nuhu, Frank Echampon of Buriram United, Juventus attacker Richmond Boachiyadom, while Supersports United's Edwin Jima is also included. Striker Asamoah Gyan makes the team as he returns for his first game after the 2012 Africa Cup of Nations. The game is one of 36 matches taking place on Wednesday. Kwesi Appiah's squad consists of goalkeepers Adam Larsen Korase from Strømsgodset, Norway, and Lesoa of Bochum Chelsea. Defenders include Harrison Affle of Esperance de Tunis, John Boy of Stade Rennes in France, Lee Ade, Dalian Iban, China, Isaac Vossa, who plays for TSG Hoffenheim in Germany, John Mensah, who is currently unattached, and Abdul Razak Nuhu, who plays for Strømsgodset in Norway. Midfielders are Anthony Annan, who plays for Schalke 04 in Germany, Derek Boateng, who plays for Dnipro in Ukraine, Christian Achu of Rio Ave, Portugal, Kojo Asamoah of Juventus in Italy, Frank Echampon, Buriram United FC in Thailand, Edwin Jima of Supersports United, South Africa. Strikers are Asamoah Gyan of Al Ain, United Arab Emirates, Emmanuel Clottey of Bochum Chelsea, Richmond Boachiyadom of Juventus in Italy, and Abdul Majid Waris, who plays for Häcken in Sweden. The Black Stars are now placed 32nd on the overall table, but their point accumulation still stands at 707 points. Stay with Joy Sports as we bring you all the details in the build-up to that game in China on Wednesday. Ending it for sports, my name is Rashida Kadiri.
You're watching the Joy News at 8. Moving on to other stories, decoupling the Attorney General office from the Ministry of Justice to fight corruption has been heavily discussed by the Constitutional Review Commission report. Thinks they should not be separated. In a battle of ideas, many journalists were against the fusion of the Attorney General and Ministry of Justice office.
The argument that we have been making is the fact that when you have one minister exercising those two responsibilities, sometimes there's conflict. And the politics in the person overrides the professionalism in that entity. And we have seen that. And we don't need to wait for people to get out of government before they are prosecuted for causing financial loss, creating another politics, when we could have dealt with it when we were in control. And so the issue is not a matter of having a Director of Public Prosecutions separate from a Solicitor General. Today, the two of them are available. We have a Solicitor General and we have a Director of Public Prosecutions. But at the end of the day, if they are to report to a minister, no matter how independent that individual is, he's reporting to a higher authority.
But Constitutional Review Commission disagreed.
If you decouple the Office of Director of Public Prosecutions, then one of the things you have to do is to establish a corresponding infrastructure throughout the whole country to deal with prosecutions. Now, you just sit back and look at it. You need a parallel infrastructure, but that doesn't solve the problem of your prosecution still. What do you need? Technical competence, human resource, trained prosecutors. You don't have them. The police are still doing 90% of prosecutions in this country. So because of, let's say five corrupt cases in this country, we go and put up a whole infrastructure just to deal with that.
It's not just the decoupling that will solve that perceived idea of people being persecuted. I use the word in quotes. you know. And in any case, that segment of our work in the Ministry of Justice and Attorney General doesn't even come up to about 5% of the work in the ministry. No, it is far less than 5%. But you see, because of the hue and cry, it's like creating mountains out of molehills.
Yaobuedu Ayebwafo was not convinced.
It may be true that the number of cases that are decided like that are not significant in terms of numbers, but in terms of impact, they are very, very, very major. You know, I mean, look, when people were prosecuted for causing financial loss to the state, the whole politics of this country was in turbulence. And so if even 1%, and that can shake the core of our nation, then we need to look at that, you know, the level of corruption. Look at the accusations and kind of accusations that are coming out from the former Attorney General, for instance, Mr. Martin Amidu, wanting as a private individual to take certain matters to court because, in his opinion, the Attorney General's office is not treating that thing professionally.
Now it will take Ghanaians to vote in a referendum whether the Attorney General's office and the Ministry of Justice should be decoupled or not.